Financial professionals, so you have somebody that has passed away with a large amount of pre-tax dollars. The beneficiary is coming to you, and in this example, that beneficiary is saying, Mr. Advisor, Mrs. Advisor, what can I do with this $265,000 that is now basically in limbo? It's all pre-tax money. I know I can cash it out, take a check, but hey, I'm taxed on that and roughly 40% tax on $265,000. I don't really want to pay whatever that comes out to be. I don't want to pay $100,000 in taxes, whatever it comes out to be. What can I do with this money? Well, what are the options, folks? I will tell you this, that of all the annuity companies out there, that Equitrust is a company that does it right. In my opinion, they are the company that does it the best of all the other companies when it comes to stretch IRAs, decedent IRAs that are subject to the 10-year rule. So let me explain. First of all, and then we're going to go into the illustration here, and I'm just going to show you what their capabilities are, how they ask the right questions to where you know that this company knows the difference between eligible designated beneficiaries, non-eligible designated beneficiaries, beneficiaries that got the money after the original owner passed away, whether that original owner was prior to their required beginning date or after their required beginning date. I love this stuff so much I'm getting choked up here just talking about it. But here, I'll talk about calling other annuity companies. When you call other annuity companies and say, hey, I have a client or I have a prospect here who has $265,000. This person's dad passed away. What can we do with the money with your company with this IRA money? Here's the one question, and only one question that they will ask oftentimes. Is it a spousal situation or is it a non-spousal situation? Well, actually, I just said that it's the son of the dad, but let's say I didn't say that. That is the only one question that they will ask many times. I'm not saying every company, but a lot of the major companies will just ask that one question. And when you come back and say, oh, it's a non-spousal beneficiary, they'll say, there's nothing we can do with it. Whether it's death prior to 2020, we can't stretch it. Death after 2020, if it's a non-eligible designated beneficiary, we can't do anything with it. It's different with Equitrust. With Equitrust, whether it's a spousal deal, a non-spousal deal, eligible designated beneficiary, non-eligible designated beneficiary, they do it. The person was past the required beginning date when they passed away, right? Does Equitrust know this? Does Equitrust know how to illustrate the required minimum distributions that our beneficiary is subject to years 1 through 9? No, not in 2024 because the IRS has said that they're not going to enforce that. But anyway, let's get into all of this stuff here. Real briefly here. So here is Equitrust illustration. You call them up and say, hey, Equitrust, what can you do with this? And they will tell you all but like 3 of their products they will allow for decedent IRAs. So this product, what is this? This is the market value product here. So qualified money. Okay, so good sign here. Equitrust says, okay, is it an inherited IRA or a stretch IRA, a beneficiary qualified IRA? You check that box in this scenario and you say yes. Now this is cool. Why is this important? Where they ask for the deceased owner's information. What is that deceased owner's date of birth? Let's say 1/1/1943. Okay, when did that deceased owner pass away? Let's say 1/1/2024. So here is what the system is saying right here. What the system is saying right here is this person passed away at what, age 81? Were they past, oh, and then this down here. Were they past their required beginning date, meaning they were taking required minimum distributions when this person passed away? Because if the answer to that is yes, and if this person is an ineligible designated beneficiary, again, folks, if you don't know what this stuff means, send me an email and I will send you a cheat sheet to where all of this will make sense to you, I promise. But what has the Equitrust software now figured out by us punching this in? What the software has figured out is, okay, so the person that passed away was over the age of required minimum distributions, and this ineligible designated beneficiary, which is subject to the 10-year rule, has to liquidate the account within 10 years. But because they are ineligible versus eligible, what does that mean? And because I should say that the person that owned the policy was past their required beginning date, what does that mean? It means we, Equitrust, the illustration software, needs to actually compute the required minimum distributions that this beneficiary has to take in years 1 through 9. Yes, folks, that's right. If the original owner was past their RMD age, then the beneficiary, even if they're subject to the 10-year rule, has to take required minimum distributions 1 through 9. Now, technically, 2024, they don't have to. They're not going to be penalized because, well, just a bunch of funky stuff that's gone on with this part of decedent IRAs. But let's just say that it's not a fluke year. Let's just say that that is required, right? Let's go over here. Let's look at the ledger here. And what does this software do? What the software has done is they've said, okay, beneficiary, here are your required minimum distributions. By the way, this product has a 10% cap, so your $265,000, it's going to increase in that market scenario here over a period of time, say 10 years, even after taking these required minimum distributions versus just cashing it all out up front in year 1, right? No, you can actually do the 10-year rule. And what does your balance potentially, based off projections, based off back testing, not guaranteed, what does that account value look like? It looks like that, right? So the point here is not about the projections. The point here is the capabilities of what Equitrust does, as well as just beware that there are some companies that have good capabilities and some companies that have zero capabilities when it comes to stretch IRAs, decedent IRAs.